Hey there guys, this is Flamesaron, aka YouTube's Toski, and this is the 25th episode of the Wheneverly Update. Figured I should do one of these, why not? I've been kind of doing stuff. I haven't really been doing much on my YouTube channel, so sorry about that. Figured I should give you guys a little bit of an update just on what I've been doing. Plus Christmas passed, so I have gotten some new stuff. Sorry I didn't do a Christmas video. I kind of got into a little bit of a debacle with the whole music thing. I'm trying to avoid kind of using music that's copyrighted in my videos. I think I might just do a video of like my thoughts on music, where I just kind of talk about like what I like and whatnot. I kind of already did that, but I feel like, you know, I didn't really go too much in depth with stuff. I mean, I think I should just kind of, I don't know, but I'll figure something out. But yeah. And I decided, you know, I just didn't really care. I'll figure something out, you know. Maybe I can just say like a Merry Christmas video, like something really short, and maybe do like a hey, here's some shit I got or something like that. But yeah, I guess I'll just start off with manga. I read Negima Volume 32. It was pretty good. We seem to be getting to the ending part of this whole magical world business, and like a bit of a crisis is starting to come up and whatnot. I read a little bit of a head of a synopsis, so I kind of know what happens to Fate, and that's fine. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but, you know, I think it's kind of fitting. I think it's fine that, you know, this kind of happens and whatnot. And Negi, he kind of, I feel like he keeps sort of, it's like he learns something new and then he kind of just like forgets. You know, I guess that kind of makes him a bit human, because, you know, he still doesn't fully grasp this whole little ordeal thing that he's got going for him. But, you know, pretty good volume overall. Not too terribly bad. I mean, I'm going to keep reading it, and hopefully it'll last a long time, because, you know, we're getting to the numbers where, you know, the possibility of the series ending might be coming up. I mean, I know there's always Love Hina that I could read, but I like Negima so far. And I also picked up Berserk after watching it again with AJ and Cedric and Milo. So I decided to read the manga, kind of give it a better chance. I only read like up to the second volume, and, you know, I kind of got past the part that kind of grossed me out a little. I just kept reading, and since then, like, the entire thing's been pretty tame as far as its grotesqueness. I mean, yeah, there's decap stuff. I don't really like. My main problem with the series, it's pretty interesting, but I really don't like the violence. Like, I feel like sometimes it just kind of takes away from the story. Like, if they would take away like as much, like, decapitation, I'm fine with. Severed limbs, I'm fine with. But when you start showing like eyeballs coming out, that's actually something I'm sort of sensitive and sort of squeamish to. And intestines, you know, that's where it sort of starts to kind of creep me out a little bit. So if they just took that stuff out, then it would be good. I read to volume 6. Everything seems to be progressing pretty well. The manga is, at least the beginning's different than the anime. I don't remember if I've talked about it or not, but I can probably talk about it like at a later time. I think I'm going to kind of take my time with Berserk, since it's another ongoing series, and it's also in a sort of irregular like schedule. So what I think I might do is read the rest of Dragon Ball, because I actually got all the volumes, and I also got the Tales of the Abyss manga, the Ash the Bloody, so I've been reading that. Then I will I also plan on reading Two Heart, something just to kind of pick up, and so I'll read that being I'll finish Ash the Bloody, which is only 2 volumes, Two Heart, which is only 3 volumes for some reason, and then I'll finish up Dragon Ball, now that I have all the volumes, And then after that, I'll focus on Berserk while reading Negima. But, and who knows, I feel like Dragon Ball I can reread a few times, and there's always the anime. And I think I'm starting to kind of more realize why Dragon Ball is my favorite series, though, because the more I read this stuff and watch the stuff, the more I want, honestly. So I feel like I could probably eternally watch the series, though I kind of wish. It's weird, though. We can talk about that later. That's pretty much my manga that I've been doing. I kind of have a bit of a plan, and hopefully we can find some other stuff. I might try and just start just reading manga in general. I mean, there's still always Fate Stay Night I could read. I don't know. That's more of an adaptation than an actual original work. Because that's sort of the kind of value I have with reading manga. I'm reading the original source material. So I can kind of get, like, a different sort of perspective on things. There's Ash the Bloody, which is more of an adaptation kind of thing, but, it's fantastic, actually. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. The Ash the Bloody manga is pretty dang good. As far as anime, I watched an episode of Bardock Raw, so I have no idea what they were saying, but I think there's a chance that it might get dubbed since it's coming out on DVD at some point. As for what I saw, it was pretty good. I feel like it was kind of short, and I feel like people kind of argue that it's out of character for Bardock. I disagree with that because, one, Bardock doesn't really have much to live for anymore. I mean, his comrades are dead. He's in a different timeline, kind of. And he doesn't really... he's, I don't know. I just feel like, he's not, like, really, like, completely ruthless. I think he's just more of an I don't give a crap kind of person. And he'll kind of just, like, do whatever. Plus, bringing him food, it's kind of like, being nice to someone because they bring you food. Akito Yosaki did a pretty good job. Masako Nozawa did a good job as Bardock, and Ryusei Nakao did a pretty good job as Chilled. I'm not really familiar with a lot of his roles, but he did a nice job. Like I said, I hope it gets dubbed, and hopefully we'll see more of this kind of stuff. I feel like we're kind of hitting a point where Dragon Ball is kind of more like what if like scenarios are becoming reality, I feel like. Which I can appreciate, because then it brings up the possibilities of certain other stuff that could happen to help keep the story going. As far as other anime, Nick AJ and I watched Sekirei in English by Funimation on Netflix streaming. It was pretty good. It's kind of similar to Omamori Himari, except I feel like it's more of a fan service kind of thing. It's like has a lot of clothes ripping and whatnot, and it's more of a competition kind of thing. And there's a second season which kind of explains things a little bit more. It was still pretty good. I'm gonna get it on DVD at some point, but and we're gonna watch the second season at some point. Where I think we're gonna watch some other stuff first, and we actually kind of started Dragon Ball. Sort of like in a weird way. Although I think we all agreed that, the timing just didn't really feel right. So we're going to try and do more justice, I think, next time. Another anime that I have been watching, Maurita Son wo Mukuchi. I think I've mentioned it before on my blog, but it's basically like these short episode clips. These short, like 3 to 5 minute little stories, and it's pretty interesting. I mean, I lost the last episode. It was kind of weird though because Crunchyroll was kind of crapping up, so I didn't really watch a very good version of it. But it was interesting. I don't really see this series getting dubbed because honestly, the content is kind of small. I mean, I guess they could dub it. I mean, they've dubbed like anime that are only like 4 episodes, 6 episodes. you know, whatever. But those are like 24 or 20 something minutes long anime, so you know the amount of voice work needed and amount of work and effort, you know, needed and put into is probably a little bit greater than doing it like 20 something episodes of like what is essentially 5 or 3 minute footage. It was still interesting. I mean, it was okay. It was just kind of something silly. It's a little school life kind of thing. It didn't really have too much substance to it like other slice of life is, because even though they're slice of life anime, they don't really have like an actual like plot, like some sort of crisis or any climax or anything like that. They do have like the character development. There's usually some sort of like little mini plots that, and usually some big plots like brought up near the end. But you know, still a pretty good show. It's really late over here. It's like 5, so you're gonna have to forgive me. Another anime AJ and I watched, which Nick reluctantly took part in, was Rosario Vampire. I actually got both seasons on DVD, and we watched it dubbed. The dub was actually pretty good. The dialogue was pretty funny. Kurumu calls Mizore Frosty the Snow Skank a few times. Not really directly calls it to her, but like refers to her in that way. That's obviously the coloring up of her language due to the writers of Funimation. I mean, they do a good job of their stuff, though. I feel like sometimes they kind of punch up dialogue that they may not necessarily need to. I mean, it works out in the end, but, you know, overall, both versions were pretty good. And, you know, Season 2 was also pretty good. Both seasons, in my opinion. AJ really liked them. Nick, not so much, but he at least agreed that Season 2 is better than Season 1. That's just Nick and I's personal opinion. I don't know about AJ. Last anime I've been watching, or actually finished, was Comic Party, which Ryo recommended to me. We did sort of like an anime trading thing where I would watch Comic Party and he watched Berserk. And Comic Party was pretty good, you know. It was an interesting like story because, you know, it's about making comics. I don't know if I'd necessarily call it a slice of life, but it was a pretty interesting show. Made me think about how like comic book writing would be. I don't want to go into like writing fan comics, but you know, it was an interesting show. Taishi, he gets pretty annoying at times, but he has his moments where he's like, where he kind of makes a little more sense, I feel like, because he kind of just jumps on Kazuki to start making comics, and I'll get to her in a minute, but Minori or something. I don't really remember her name. But you know, she was a little hard to understand because she would get so upset over like him like wanting to make. I was like, what is the problem? Like like he has this cool hobby thing, you know, what's wrong with that? Like, do you look down upon him or something? Now the big comic person, she sounds like a friggin' pirate in the English dub. I mean, I feel like it's kind of fitting, but some of the voices in this show are kind of weird. Like Kazuki, the girl, I still don't remember her name, and Taishi, they're pretty good voices, and Emmy, this really annoying girl, she's supposed to be annoying, but she plays it so well, so it actually is good. It's so annoying that it's good. It's kind of weird. But some of these characters, you know, I feel like it almost sounds like they got anime fans to do voices, which, not that I'm against that, but, you know, that's actually kind of interesting. Sam Riegel does Kazuki, and Liam O'Brien does Taishi. And they actually make a Liam O'Brien joke, which I thought was pretty funny. And they reference Two Heart and Steel Angel Kurumi, which I find to be, you know, interesting, I guess. I don't really have any problems with that, especially, you know, it's Two Heart being a series I actually kind of want to finish. But yeah, it was pretty good. As far as games go, I've been kind of in a SoulCalibur